Hello there. In this video, we're gonna talk about inversion, or also called inverted word order. Important to say that inverted word order is commonly used with the expressions not only, nowhere, or not until. As the name says, inversion is about changing the standard word order of a typical sentence. Why would we do that? Well, we use it mostly for emphasis or formality. A basic example of inverted word order or inversion, for example, when we say, is he funny? Instead of he's funny, you see, we are trying to emphasize that he is funny, right? Trying to get confirmation, so to speak. Is he funny? We are not really asking. We are saying that he's funny. So this is a short question that is not really asking anything. It's changing the order to emphasize what you really want to say. This is a very simple example to introduce you to the topic. Let's get to the interesting ones. Even though you might not use it when you speak, inversion is something that you're going to come across when you read a text or when you listen to somebody speaking English. Why would they do that? Well, as I already said, to emphasize, you want to emphasize something important. You want to add formality, and it also helps you sound more naturally. Like using inversion comfortably in your speech or in your writing can help you look like someone who knows the language very well. And native speakers understand that inversion is formal. They won't feel that there's anything wrong or weird with your sentence or with your phrase. Second language speakers of English, we find it interesting because we might even think that there's something wrong with that, like, is that a mistake? But it's not. Well, if you use it correctly. This is the typical structure of inversion. For example, not only, right? Remember, one of the three expressions that I told you in the beginning that is very common is not only. And instead of saying not only and directly adding the subject and the verb, you have an auxiliary verb and then the subject and then the verb. You see, it's the structure of a question. But as I already explained, you're not really asking. Let me give you an example, the way you would speak without inversion. He not only won, but he also impressed everyone. Well, inverted, you will say something like, not only did he win, but he also impressed everyone. Look at how, since the original sentence is in the past tense, you need to use the auxiliary verb in the past tense, and then the main verb stays in simple form. Not only did he win, right? It's like you're asking, but you're not really asking. You're not saying, did he win? You're not really asking. You know he won, but you're emphasizing that not only did he win, he did more than winning, he also impressed everyone. This is a very common example with inversion, using not only. Obviously, sometimes you don't use auxiliary verbs. For example, if your sentence is using just the verb to be, for example, let's suppose that this he is also handsome. So you will say, he is not only handsome, that would be the standard sentence, but if you invert it, it should say, not only is he handsome, but he also is very smart, no? With the verb to be, you don't need an auxiliary verb, so you just use the structure of the question by putting the main verb before the subject. Not only is not the only expression used in inversion, you can also use expressions such as never, rarely, or seldom. For example, never have I seen such a beautiful sunset. Instead of saying, I have never seen such a beautiful sunset, which is already a very good sentence, it's super clear, we know what you're trying to say. But if you want to emphasize how amazing this sunset is, you can invert the order of the sentence to start with never. You see, to emphasize that this is the first time you see such amazing sunset. Never have I seen such a beautiful sunset before in my life. You can also use rarely, like in this example. Rarely does she arrive late. As you can see, their standard sentence should say, she rarely arrives late. But when you invert it, you don't say arrives anymore because you are using the auxiliary verb. That's something important to remember. So since you are using the auxiliary verb in present, you just say does, and then you omit the s from the original main verb. And you get something like this. Rarely does she arrive late. Inversion is also very commonly used with time expressions such as not until and only after. Not until he apologized did she forgive him. So he apologized first and then she forgave him. You can say that not until he apologized, she forgave him. That would be correct. But you want to emphasize that the forgiveness was withheld until the guy apologized. Only after the meeting did I understand the problem. So I didn't understand the problem. We had a meeting. Oh, now I understand it. So you can also say only after the meeting I understood the problem. That's perfectly fine. You want to emphasize that your understanding happened. After this, well, you can use inversion. More examples, expressions about place, adverbs, no, place adverbs. Nowhere have I failed, more welcome. Nowhere did I find the book I was looking for. Nowhere will I meet someone like you. You see how we are emphasizing the uniqueness of the event. Can we use standard subject-verb complement for these sentences? Of course. I have never felt more welcome. I didn't find the book I was looking for anywhere else, no? Or I will nowhere meet someone like you. Something like this. Those would be some standard ways to say that. But if you want to emphasize, remember, and sound more formal, you can invert your sentence. Finally, two more very common words or expressions where you use inversion. Hardly or no sooner. Hardly had I sat down when the phone rang. You see, it means that you had just sat down. A second had just passed when the phone rang. What is the meaning here? That you had to stand up and pick up the phone, probably, or that you had to interrupt whatever you were doing to take the call. No sooner had she left than it started raining. No sooner that she left. So you were like, oh, I hope it doesn't rain on your way to your destination. No sooner had she left, it started raining. Oh, bad luck, no? Notice how, in these cases, past perfect is recommended. That's why you use had and the verb in participle. Had I sat down, had she left. So why use inversion? Well, it makes your English more fluent and natural. You show your advanced skills. Depending on the situation, for example, if you're taking a certification, you might want to use inversion in your writing and your speaking to try to signal the evaluator that your level of English is a C1 or even a C2. But you got to do it well, otherwise it backfires. So you are welcome to use it. It's recommended that you try it and you use it. But if you don't use it or you want to use it, it's still important that you know it because you're going to find inversion in different texts and different speakings or speeches, etc. It helps you better understand formal writing because it doesn't throw you off, like what's happening? This sentence is wrong. Why is the structure so weird? It's not. It's a way to write. It's a way to speak. And so, if you have been convinced by these three reasons, keep practicing so that you get more familiar and more comfortable with inversion and you can also use it successfully. Thank you for watching and see you next time.